go. Okay, so it's week number 5 of our 6 weeks, you guys, of trying to, again, our interpretation of bringing more power to your powerhouse, right? Of how to access more of the abdominals, the true abdominals, the core, right? So the first week, we really spent time on lengthening the front line, your rectus, your psoas, your iliacus. We then went to the lengthening of the multifidus and the QL, right? If we go back to what we did. And then the second week, we took some time doing widening, right? Because our whole goal in this entire 6 weeks is really to create space so you can find your powerhouse, and also to release the rib cage and release the pelvis, so that you can get those muscles. So then we went widening, right? We went diaphragm. We did our TA, our transverse abdominis, right? We did some things that were more in that width. And then we went from there, week 3, we kind of put some things together and went back to kind of some lengthening, where we went into the lats. We did some side stuff up the bum. We did some good breath work, some clam. We did our piriformis clam one, right, which we all love. Hopefully we've been doing that one. And then we took last week and went into more of the obliques, right, more the wrapping, what we call the sling muscles, your internal and external obliques. We went into some directional breath, some that and not necessarily my favorite one, but we would go against the wall and we try to direct our breath to the right side and open up, and direct our breath to the left side. So we kind of incorporated that widening and lengthening while we utilize the breath. This week, we wanted to focus on compound, more exercises. So we'll do some lengthening, but we will also do some strengthening tonight. So tonight's a little bit more abdominal work night. Okay. So hopefully we didn't all eat too much, because we're going to do a little bit of work tonight. Before we get into a lot of work, we do want to start with opening up through our sideline, which we haven't done this yet. We're going to do a sideline. Normally when we do sideline, we start from the hip crest and we go down, whether it's just the TFL or down to the IT band. Tonight we're going to start really in the side butt dimple and just go up to your hip, because we're gonna do a pull lengthening line up the sideline. Then we're gonna take it off so that we don't roll through this midsection. Then we'll go up to our rib and through our arm, right, all the way through our triceps. And then we'll flip over and we'll do some abdominal work, strengthening wise. Okay, so first we're gonna try to open up through our side. So let's go ahead and find ourselves some space. Take yourself on your sideline. I'm gonna open up one more window because it is a little dark in here now that I look at this. And I want you to place the gold ball right in that side dimple on your side body, right? So find yourself on your side. It'll just give us a little bit more light. Although I did wear light clothes tonight, so the balls don't get lost. Okay, so, and if this is hard on your shoulder girdle, you can definitely take another ball and place it underneath there. I think we're all probably okay. We're going to lengthen out that bottom leg. You can take your top one either behind you or in front. See how it feels? I tend to do mine in the back, or if I'm feeling really lopsided, it'll come to the front. So you can choose either way. And we're right just in that little crevice, right? You're in that side of that dimple area of your butt cheek. And we're chilling, but we're also thinking length, right? So as I'm here, I'm trying to pull my rib cage away from my hips as much as I'm pulling my foot away, right? Think of traction. Always want a traction. As one bone is going one way, the other bone is going the other. So rib cage is pulling away from the hip is pulling away from the rib, which again is one of the big themes of our Power to the Powerhouse. You'll access more of the abdominals if we can get the rib to free out and the pelvis to free out. Now, sink your weight into your ball. So when we move, we don't want to lift up to move. We actually want to let our body melt into the ball more and peel the ball up. So I'm getting closer to the top of that hip crest. Not on it yet, but almost. This is a small little move up. Again, we're letting the body sink into the ball. We've been doing a lot of that, practicing our breath. So as I inhale, I'm going to pump air and the tissue is going to pump itself up on the ball. As I exhale, it's almost like everything deflates and more weight is bearing into your ball. Not because I'm forcing it, but just because we're relaxing. And as we inhale, we're pumping air into the ball, pulling rib away, foot away. Exhale, sink into your ball. Just melt around it. And then as we sink our weight on that next breath, you're going to inhale, peel it, and now we're right on that side hip crest. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Yes, if this hurts, switch balls. However, the gold ball is the softest ball, Jackie. So you could try the cream one. It's a little smaller. But this will be pretty intense. We're going to be off it in a second anyways. You can definitely let up a little bit if you need to. Yeah, this is the softest of the balls. All right, now take that off. Take your hand and bring it right. So if I just put my hand on my hip crest, then you're going to take the ball above that hand. So you're on the side of your rib cage, really just on the side of your bra. Again, the gold ball is the one I would try. You can, however, use a cream one as well. Now, we've got two options here. First, though, I want you to take that. If you're on your right side, you straighten out your right leg. If you're on your left side, straighten out your left leg. Again, I don't care what you do with this top leg. It can be just straight. You could bring it forward. You could bring it back. It doesn't really matter, okay? Now, you could take your arm and reach it long, or I've been doing a lot more of just letting my head just rest. I don't want to push my head up though. Like this would be getting it into an unnatural position. So I just let the head rest in my palm and then I'm reaching my elbow tip out. So I'm not actually on the tip of it. I'm really back onto the tricep. But either position, whatever one you want to use, we're trying to, again, pull our ribs away from the ball, yet you're wrapping down into it. Now, if it is too intense, I would then think about lifting up a little bit off of it, right? Or again, you can try you could even try, Jackie should thought about this, if you have the face ball kit, the bigger ball of the face ball kit is the softest of all of the balls. So that could be an option as well. Now remember, this can also be done with a black ball or a purple ball. It's just going to be a lot more intense, a lot more detailed. We really wanted to use the black ball or the big, we wanted to use the gold ball rather than the black balls because we just wanted to get just a nice general length here, more bigger space. Now, see if you can slightly roll the ball forward towards the breast tissue without rolling on the tissue. So I just brought it towards the breast tissue without rolling on it. We're getting really into the intercostals, which is the muscle in between the ribs. Of course, the serratus muscles are kind of in here as well. Those are more detailed patterns, but they're in here. And a little bit as we get higher, the pec minor, and then of course the teres. Now see if you can sink into that ball and roll the chest forward, almost like you're doing a crisscross in Pilates and pushing the ball into that border edge of your shoulder blade. It's almost like you're asking the shoulder blade to push towards the middle of your spine. Yeah. And again, you could do whatever you want with that top leg. Now, on your inhalation, pump your body off the tissue of the ball and then exhale, sink and move the ball and microshift higher. So we went back to midline and then we pull that ball just a little bit higher. Not in the armpit yet. This is my armpit crease. Almost, but not yet. Sinking down into it. Also, this, I know we're at home and whatnot. This is great if you wanted to turn your camera off and take your bra off. This would be a great time to do it. Really don't want to be doing this one with a lot of hardware on your bra. Sink down into it and bring the ball again a little bit towards the breast tissue without rolling on the breast tissue. Breathing in Breathing out, think lengthening out that bottom leg, pulling as if I'm there helping. I do this one a lot when I'm with clients. I'll help and assist that arm and then sink down into it and push into, ooh, I just got a nice adjustment. Push into the edge blade, right? So you can feel that border edge of your shoulder blade, and you're just kind of pushing your shoulder blade towards the middle of your spine. Excellent. And then bring it back to the middle, and then we're gonna bring it into our armpit. Pull it into your armpit. And you can hold this here, or I oftentimes like to take my arm and start to stretch out because we're gonna start to go in the arm just a little bit. Because remember, you guys, we had from the week that we did the lats, the latissimus dorsi actually attaches on your humeral head, right? So we want to be able to, again, to be able to free out the rib cage, we want to get those lats a little bit off of its insertion point. And you could bring the ball slightly forward, but again, not on breast tissue. So rolling it a little forward, sink down into it, and then roll it towards the back border edge, the upper border edge of the shoulder blade. And then bring it back to the center. And I'm going to take it down the arm just a little bit. So I'm going to sink my weight to the ball, taking it down the armpit and into the arm. Reaching that hand out nice and long. Take a big breath in, take a big breath out. Start to rotate that palm to the sky. Rotate it to the other side. And bring it center and feel that length. And take a big breath in and roll it towards the elbow. Right? Reach. I'm starting with the humeral head with palm down. Now rotate. You're going to externally rotate it so that the arm goes up. Or palm, right, goes up. And then rotate it around until the palm looks the other way. Now, normally when we do this work, we would go to the other side and do the same thing on the other side. Tonight, we're going to play a little bit differently. Go ahead and come up. Sit for a second. However you want to sit. Doesn't matter to me how you sit. Reach the arms up. And you will probably notice, right, you can even see on the screen with me, that one side is, I'm able to get my arm straighter. I'm able to elevate and depress my shoulder blade a little bit better, and I have a little bit more space on the sideline. Now we're going to continue up the same side. So if you did your left side, go left and just reverse my cueing. If you went right with me, you're going to stay on the right. So what we're going to do is and I like to find bony landmarks. We're going to find the pubic bone. We're going to roll just above on the shelf. We're going to go to the right. Okay, then we're going to do some work here on this right side. As I told you, we're going to do some abdominal strengthening today. Okay, and we're going to add some rotation of the thoracic. We're going to do some rotation tonight as well. So let's find ourselves on our belly. Put my screen down towards the floor a little more. So we're going to find ourselves on our belly. I always like to find the center line first. So find your pubic bone right in the middle of your pubic ramus. And then once you find that, come just a slightly above it. Now just stay here for a second. So do just a little work here. Elongate your legs behind you. Let your knees drop down. And then pull your belly button gently up. Right, so for some of us, it likes to hang down, and you end up in that anterior tilt. So I'm gonna pull my belly button up, but push my pubic bone down. Get that cue again. Belly button is dragging up, like there's a little string attached to the internal side of your navel, and someone's pulling it up like a little puppet. Then somebody else is underneath on the ball, pulling your pubic bone down and around the ball. Right? Navel up, pubic bone down. Now, here's the hard part. We're going to add the breath. This is the ab strengthening. I want you to inhale, puff out through the torso so that you feel your body and tissue expand on your ball. Like you're pushing your abdominal wall in the ball. Then exhale, deflate. Try that again. Inhale, push your tissue out so that you can feel it expand 360. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Push, push, push. Exhale, relax. Now, take it to the right. So I can have that, I can feel it on top, above my underwire line and the hip bone, that right ASIS, my navel, that you've got that gold ball in this big area here. Now, stretch out the same arm, same leg. I'm going to keep my other knee, so I'm on my right side with the ball. My left knee is down. So make sure you're the same side that you did that side trunk extension here. And then left hand is going to go bent with your forehead down. So I've got right arm long, right leg long. It should be the same side of your body. Now again, do the same breath. Inhale, push into your ball. Here's the strengthening component in the Yamuna work. Now exhale, melt around your ball like you let air out of your balloon. Inhale, expand your torso and the tissue into the ball. Exhale, melt it around. Okay, so now we're going to add a little bit more work. Take the right leg and float it on your inhalation, reaching it back. And then exhale, relax the leg down, wrap around your ball. Inhale, float that leg up. So we're doing what we call a prone hip extension in Pilates, and lower it down. Inhale, reach, which would be a preparatory exercise for things like swimming, single leg kick, right? Lift, grasshopper. All of this is prep work. If we're talking and correlating this to abdominal work in Pilates, is can you lift your leg from your abdominals? Inhale, pump that air up and float the leg up and draw it down. Good. Now, see if you can keep your legs down. Now we're going to lift our upper body. So you're going to be lifting your arm, but it's not, rather than just lifting your arm up and down, it's going to be from your chest. So your left forearm is into the floor, right? So I'm using my left forearm into the floor. I'm going to push it into the mat and start to lift up your ribs away from your hips and extend and back down, right? So you push into the floor, the head comes level with your spine. You start to lift your ribs, your chest, your collarbone, your arm floats with you. You draw it back down. This is strength work, right? You are doing strength work as much as you are length. Push down, lift it up. So where we start to get into more of the work here. We've lengthened, now we're strengthening. Lift and lower. And notice the difference if you're just trying to lift your arm or if you can push and lift. Oppositional pushing left into floor, lifting through your core. Okay, you guys, let's make this more challenging yet. Take a big inhale and float, arm and leg. Exhale. Typically, extension is best off with an inhalation. Inhale, float. Exhale, deflate. Inhale, float. Exhale, deflate. Now see if you can pop up onto your forearms. Pop up through that right toe, excuse me. So now you're in a plank with just the right foot. My left knee is still down. Okay. Now, see if you can drop that leg and straighten it. Drop it and straighten it. Good. Now, see if you can reach the right arm out. Yeah, can you hold that? Now slide it back in. Reach. Down. Reach. Feel the strength of that right oblique, of the TA, the transverse, the pelvic floor, the back line, the multifidus, the erectors. Yeah. Now hold it. Bend at that right knee. Now this next move might be a little much, so you can kind of play with this. If it feels okay and you have this kind of flexibility, you're gonna take the same arm and grab back. So I'm gonna take my right arm and grab onto my right foot. And if this is not gonna happen for you, that's okay, right? Again, this is a strengthening move. Then if you wanna add more, you inhale, push into the ball and expand. And then exhale, release. And lift and release. So we call this bow pose in yoga, right? And we call this would be a preparatory exercise for rocking in the Pilates repertoire. But it's all just an extension, right? A swan extension, adding the front line, lengthening, and the back line, strengthening through your core. And release. Okay, so we've got one more we're gonna do. You're gonna have your right elbow and forearm on the floor. Bring your left one up like a push-up. I just got my hand like a push-up. Now we're gonna sing. This is one of my favorite ones. We're gonna do a thoracic rotation. That means you're gonna take your left ribs and rotate them, or you can even think your right rib, and rotate and twist to the left. And as you do, you're scooping the ball into the abdominal wall like you just took an ice cream scooper to the bottom of the carton of your pelvis. So we're just rotating our chest. Inhale, push your tissue into the ball. Exhale, sink and rotate further. Inhale, push tissue into the ball. Exhale, sink and rotate your chest further. Now bring it back to the midline. Take the ball out. Gladly, I'm sure, right? And then flip onto your backside and take your arms and legs straight, whether they're over your head or whether they feel better by your side. Doesn't matter. Take a couple breaths. Again, you're feeling how lengthened out you are, and actually with on this one, that you could have more ease of movement of your ribs, more ease of movement of your pelvis. Okay, now we have that entire thing on the other side. So we're gonna first start by releasing the side pelvis and the side rib cage through the arm, and then we'll go into our strengthening. So let's go right on the side of that butt cheek in the dimple, right? If you need a second ball, maybe you grab your silver one and put it underneath your arm if you need a little assistance with that shoulder. Or again, grab a softer ball. See, this feels, if it's still too intense with the gold ball, again, you could try grabbing your face one, or maybe a softer surface. This one can, or it just gives you some feedback that this might be an area that we need to work here. So we're just, that ball just cupping right into that nice little crevice here. Breathe in, breathe out. I'm thinking about extending my bottom leg away. I like to flex it. You can point though, you can play with that. I like to get more of that flex position, and then pull the rib away, right? You want that tractioning. So this is a different pattern than the TFL, because the TFL actually goes from the top of the hip crest and we go down into the fascia of the IT band. We're actually starting more at the fascia of the IT band, going up. Just 3 little rolls, simple, easy. Sink down into it, and as you let your body bear weight, pull the ball up a little bit so you're just underneath that hip crest. Extending that leg, pulling the rib away. See how that feels. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Thinking, how much space can you give between your hip and your rib and armpit and foot? Sink down into it, bear the weight, and you're pulling it right onto that hip crest, just where you put your, your thumb and finger on there to give me some attitude, like a teenage girl, right? Think about that leg long, pull the rib cage away, breathing in, breathing out. One more breath. Relax, go ahead and sit. I usually just take my hand on top of the hip crest, take the ball above that, and lie back down. So you're gonna be right above and on the side, above the floating rib, and right on the side of that bra line. And you have an option to take the arm long and really reach that out, or bring the hand on the head and pull that elbow away to expose more of the armpit. And then make sure I was kind of cheating there. I was kind of having the legs bent. Really should be more active. I should have that bottom leg straight or both legs straight. Top leg can be wherever you want it. And we're just reaching. I'm trying to reach that out. Now, once we've taken some breaths into the ball, I always think about just breathing where the ball is. It's the beauty of Yamuna. And then you're going to pull the ball towards the breast tissue without actually rolling on top of it. Just kind of butting into the side of it. As you budge into the side, you're kind of pushing tissue away. Breathing in, breathing out, really feeling for the bones here. Now sink into it and push it towards the back, and you'll start to feel the border edge of your shoulder blade, and you're pushing the shoulder blade toward your spine. This is like probably one of my favorite spots of all time. Feels so darn good. And then bring it back into that middle. Take a big breath in, take a big breath out, let your body sink, and move as you sink a little bit higher, not in the armpit, but almost. Reaching that leg, reaching the elbow or hand, whatever configuration you have, away. Sink down into it. On the inhalations, you're expanding tissue. On the exhalation, you soften the tissue around your ball because you deflate. Now bring the ball towards your breast tissue without rolling onto it. Breathe in, breathe out. And then as you sink, can you push it into the border edge of your blade, pushing the blade toward your spine? Again, breathe in, breathe out. And then bring it back to the center. Take it into the armpit. Right? Now you're gonna reach that armpit a little bit further away, reaching the leg away, breathing in, breathing out. See how that feels. And then we can roll it. It's a pretty small move. You roll forward though, because they're, the lymph nodes are in here, but we're gonna roll it just a little forward. It's okay to get the lymph nodes moving here, but just want to be a little gentle. You don't need a lot of heavy weight here. And then sink and then roll it to that, again, border edge of your shoulder blade, pushing the blade towards the middle of your spine. Bring it back to the center. Take that arm out long. Reach your fingertips and pull the ball down into the arm, right? You have it. It's just a little bit in the armpit yet, but you're still trying to find more down into the arm. And then we're going to rotate externally up towards the sky, rolling across the back of your triceps. You might feel some speed bumps. However, we're on the gold ball, so it's not usually too intense. And then we're going to sink it, roll it, and try to externally rotate it. So now your palm and finger are facing the other way to the sky. Let's bring it back to that middle line, palm to the floor. Exhale, deflate yourself around the ball and move it towards the elbow. And it's almost in the elbow, but not quite. Palm to the floor, reach out, externally rotate. You could even use your other hand. So oftentimes, again, I try to be as much of a practitioner as working on me and help roll that around. And then reach that out, sink, rotate it, and bring it palm to the sky. Breathing in, breathing out. And bring it center. Okay, take it off. Stop for a second, see how that feels. Right, we should be able to feel if we were to do some angel arms, right? If we take that into some angel arm work, it should feel good. And then if we were to do some spine twisting, some saws, all that abdominal work, we'd have much more accessibility here. So now we're gonna go into the strengthening component of Yamuna with the ball. So we're gonna start at the middle again. I always like to start so that we can find our middle line. So we're gonna take that ball right on our pubic bone. So I'm right on top of that pubic bone. Find where I'm at here. Once we're there, we're gonna pull the ball a little higher so that we're coming into the top of the shelf, pushing down into the top of the shelf. As we're here, this round, I want to do a little bit of strengthening in the midline with our chest down. So see if you can take yourself down to the chest. Just relax. Now see if we can bring the legs together. So we're going to do a little, I'm just adding in a little strengthening work here on our center line. Okay? So you're just relaxing. If you can still hear me, just go nose to the floor. I probably wouldn't turn the head. I would probably go nose to the floor or take your hands, stack them and place your forehead there, right? That might be more comfortable as well. So see how that feels. And it's okay, let your chest drop down and try to wrap your bum around towards your feet. Again, we oftentimes have that urge to clench. Can you unclench that grip? Can you release the grip of the glutes? Now bend the knees and inhale, push all your tissue into the ball. Exhale, deflate around it. Now as you inhale this next time, float your legs up. And exhale, release the legs and deflate. Inhale, lift. Exhale, relax. So this would be mimicking more of our dolphin kick or lifting into grasshopper, trying to get those legs close together. Inhale, float them off the mat. Exhale, relax down. And maybe your inhalation, you don't actually lift the legs. And that's okay if that doesn't occur for you. But eventually we want to try to see if we can find this strength. Again, not just in our butt. So I'm trying to get my mind out of squeezing and clenching, but more think about drawing the pushing out of my abdominal wall right now on the ball as I lift and lower, right? As I push, then I deflate. Now see if you can hold that and then start to extend your legs. Now bend it, draw it down. I'm wrapping my shelf around my ball. Lift, extend, bend, and lower. One more time. Lift, extend, bend, and lower. Draw the feet down, relax. Now take your feet about hip bone distance apart. Slide your elbows out to a scarecrow or field goal. Nose to the mat. Try to get more of the pubic bone around the ball because you're starting to really open things up. And then you're going to lift your head like an elevator off the floor. It's still no chin up, it's just coming neutral. And then start to expand your collarbone width to a T. And then the upper ribs, through the sternum, the lower ribs, all start to come up into your extension swan. Now pull the bottom of your rib away from the ball and the hips and lay it down one by one all the way till your nose lands. Try that again. Inhale, float the head, the collarbone, the ribs, the chest. And exhale, draw it down. Inhale, rise head, collarbone, ribs, chest. Exhale, deflate around the ball. One more, feeling ooey gooey in our spine. Really, let's being a really soft through all of that and relax. Now, can you shift the ball to the left side of your pelvis? Come up onto your left forearm and your right forearm. Now stretch out that left leg. I've got my right knee bent on the floor. Now take the left arm, stretch out and drop down. We start with the prone hip extension single leg. Reach the left, lower down. Reach the left, lower down. Reach the left, lower down. One more, pull and down. Okay, so now we go to the upper body, right? Prone hip extension to upper body extension. I'm gonna drop my left leg down and we're gonna lift on the inhalation up. Exhale, deflate down. Lift and down. Lift and down. One more, lift and down. Now, you might stay with one of those or chill or do both. A full swim. Here we go. Lift and lower. We're focusing on lifting from the transverse abdominis, from the pelvic floor, from the extension of the chest, reaching finger and toe. Good. Now hold. Now bend the knee. Pop yourself up. See if you can grab on. And if you don't, if the knee does not allow for this, then you just stay here and don't worry about it, right? If you have this flexibility in your pec and shoulder girdle and in the knee, then you grab. I'm gonna press down through my right forearm. As I press down, we lift into our bow, lower down. We lift into our bow, lower down. Two more. Lift into bow, lower down. One more. Remember, bow is the same thing as rocking in Pilates. And then down. And then take the foot, extend it, come onto your left forearm. Right hand's gonna come up like a push-up. Sink, it's time to do some thoracic rotation. Sink around your ball, scoop that ice cream scooper to the bottom of your pelvic crest of the bowl, and turn your chest to the right. Now take another breath, turn more to the right. Sink more around your ball. Another breath, turn more into the ball. One more, turn more into the ball. Bring yourself back to the midline, take the ball off. Lie down onto your back and see how that feels. Whew. Check that out. Oh, for some reason I've got that actually went down to my right calf, ironically. So some adjustment happened in my calf, or in my arch, excuse me. See how this is connected, you guys. Just see what it feels like here on your back line. Do a couple soft breaths in and soft breaths out. Okay, so now we're going to take it into our sternum. So we wanted to do some more rotation tonight. So as much as this one is about opening up and freeing out your rib cage, it's also about twisting the ribs and pushing the pelvis away. So we have to be careful on this move. Oftentimes when we get into this move, you can actually do a little bit of damage on the I hate to say damage, but you can misalign. That's what I should be saying, and rephrase that. You could misalign your SI joint if you're not really paying attention. So I want you to be really careful to the cues, listen to the cues. Okay, so we are going to start, I'll look this way, on our belly first with the ball at the center of our chest, and then I'm going to set your knees out. Okay, so we're going to place it right between the girls. You could use the cream one as well if the gold doesn't feel right for your body. Okay, I've been using the gold a lot just to try to have a bigger space. However, there's times when I might want to use the cream one as well. Now, once we get here and our chest is to the floor, and for those that have been, I do this variation of this on the wounded chair. So actually, I think all of you have probably done this with me or in a class setting. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be asking the trunk to be to the floor and our lower legs and our pelvis to be the opposite. So here's the setup. Take your knees, slide them to the right, and stack them like you're going to do clam. Right? On the wounded chair, I have your legs up straight and I hold off your legs. But we're going to do it with the knees bent. And then as you have the knees to the right and they're stacked, you're going to turn your chest to the floor. To the best of your ability, you're trying to get your chest to look to the floor. Now, here's the hard part where we have to just kind of watch the pelvis. Where are we in space? I will sometimes take that top hand that's available and push my hip and make sure that I'm not dropping down my mouse house. So you still want to think like if we were doing a full, say, sideline, right? If I were to take the ball of the equation and I were doing, some side leg series, if we correlate this to Pilates, anytime we lie on our side, it's super easy to jack those hips off alignment. So in your mind, you're thinking, those of us that know the clock drill, you want your 3 and your 9 to still be parallel, but you're on your side, so it feels different than being on your back trying to keep it, right? We're taking this to this. So really watch that SI joint and where your pelvis is in space on the side. So I oftentimes in my brain will think the top right butt cheek is pushing away. And for me, that's really important because when I used to do this one, I would find it would sometimes bother me if I let my pelvis just drop. So I have to really focus on pushing the top right butt bone away from my rib. And then I'm going to ask my right rib to pull away from the right hip bone. Okay? So we're going to stay on our forearms to start with. And then I want you to sink your body into the ball. All right? So we're just doing our best to ask the rotation of the chest from the rib cage from the pelvis. Now, see if you can bring it up so it looks like you're going to do a wide chest push-up. Okay, and already there's a lot going on. Now, I want you to inhale into your ball and pull your chest forward. Push your bottom away. Again, inhale, lift your chest, push your bottom away. Now, we're going to do some rotation, deeper rotation. You are going to ask your ribs to shift to the left and your eyes and head goes with it. So lower body, you're pushing your right butt cheek back. You're turning your ribs to the left. This is big movement here. And as I'm turning to the left, I'm also trying to get my chest to reach forward. I know, a lot to think about here. Now, we're going to do a counter rotation. You're like, what the heck? Keep trying to pull your chest to the left and softly turn just your head to the right. So now you've got your head and your knees right and your chest left. I always think this like a Rubik's Cube. And the middle row is rotating to the left as the knees and the head are your bottom row of the Rubik's Cube and the top row turning to the right. Now bring it back to center. Whew. Relax for a moment. Again, it's a lot. It's a lot to ask. Now, see if you can move the ball on micro shift higher. So I'm not quite at my collarbone, but almost. Now you're going to push your right butt cheek away. Sink. I like to start on my forearms and just see what I've got here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Keep shifting that bum away. Keep pulling the chest forward. Slide up onto your hands like a wide chest push-up. And then as we reach our chest forward, we're going to rotate your chest and head and eyes to the left. And I'm going to keep pushing, Constantly my right top butt cheek away and lift the chest. You've got all this rotation going. So get on your Rubik's Cube. You've got your top and middle to the left and your bottom row to the right. Now we're going to add the top row to the right. Slowly turn your eye gaze, just your eye gaze and your head to the right. Keep pushing your chest and midsection and sternum to the left though. It's called a counter rotation. And then release, bring it center. Reach the legs out behind you. Keep the ball right at that, it's called the clavicular nod, which is where the collarbones come to this kind of like cartilage area of the bone, of the breastbone. Hold that there so you're not quite on the collarbone, but you can feel the ball right there. Then we're gonna do this, and we've done this, I think we did this before. If not, we're gonna do it again. You're gonna start to bend your knees and take your butt towards the sky and see if you can tilt the pelvis into a little posture of tilt, and then use your hands on top of the ball and push the ball down into your breastbone. And this is the only time we really do this. Ask your chin to lift forward, right? So I'm opening up my throat. You're elongating your throat and tractioning the ball down. And then release, take it off, roll onto your back line. Let your body take that in because that's quite a bit. Whew. Hopefully we're doing okay. All right, you guys. From here, we have to do the other rotation of our Rubik's Cube, okay? So we're gonna turn to one side, come up. Again, I like to set this in the middle. So let's start with it. And if you're looking for like, where should this be? If you were to find your ribs, there's my xiphoid process. And then I'm gonna go about, 2 or 3 fingers and just push the tissue to the side and get the ball in there, all right? Best done with the gold ball, but you could use your cream. See how you feel on this one. Now let your body just melt around it. And when we melt around it, it's not about like trying to get your head to the floor. That's just my head coming forward. But it will look like it if you're letting the chest and the sternum wrap around it. There's kind of a difference on that. Now we're going to take our knees to the left. Just pull them underneath you. Now come up on your forearms. You might even take that top left hand and push your cheek away, or just double check your pelvic alignment. Your 3 and 9 should be level here. And once the pelvis is in good alignment, I'm pushing that left cheek away. Now I'm going to sink in the ball, look towards the floor as much as I can with my collarbone, and then reach the collarbone forward. It's almost like I'm pushing the forearms to the mat and pulling the elbows towards your knees as your rib cage pulls forward. Breathing in. Again, I constantly like to think about, can I push that left cheek back? Inhale, you want to feel like you're expanding. Exhale, melt and soften. Okay, now we're going to slide them up into that little push-up position, right? I'm going to push my left cheek away before I get started. We're going to inhale, lift the chest forward. Exhale, rotate it to look to right. You've got your chest and your ribs and your head and your eyes looking to the right as you're pushing your left cheek back. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now, can you continue the twist of your rib and chest to the right? And then your eye gaze is going to look to the left with your left knee. So again, in a Rubik's Cube, you got row 1 and 3 to the left, and you're still trying to push your chest to the right, even though you're not looking at it. Counter rotation. Bring it back to center. Unravel for a second and breathe. Again, it's a lot of work. Breathing in, breathing out. Woo. This should be work, you guys. Now I'm simply just going to shift the ball up and my body down. Not quite on the collarbones, but almost. Wrap your body around it. Breathe in, breathe out. Push that top left cheek away. Sink. All right. Lift the chest. Elbows come out. Find your push up. Keep pushing that left butt bone away. Reach the chest forward. Now twist your ribs to the right and your eyes and your head go with you to the right. And we keep tractioning left butt cheek, left butt bone towards your heels and away. Your ribs are twisting to the right. Your eye gaze looks with it. Now on the next breath, see if you can keep the rotation right, except your head is going to look to the left, but you're going to keep pushing your chest to the right. Counter rotation. And then unravel it back down to the floor. Take your legs back straight so you're on your belly. The ball again is on the clavicular nod, which is just above, or just below, excuse me, the nods of your collarbone. You're going to go ahead and take your hands on top of the ball. We're going to slide our knees underneath us. Bum comes to the sky a little bit. You're at this diagonal. Now, I usually end up anterior tilted, so I'm going to really pull my belly in to straighten out my back. And then I'm going to push the ball towards my belly button and lift my chest, lift my chest. We are lifting your chest, but you're lifting your chin forward. So you're actually lifting your chin. We don't do this very often. Push, push down, and then release and come off. Now we're going to do a little counteracting that because that's quite a bit to finish our class tonight. We're going to take the ball, draw it on our forehead, grab onto it, lift your butt up to the sky, and then walk your knees as tight as you can. Now, start to push your butt back towards your heels and bring the ball with you, still on your forehead. And I'm holding on, I even have my fingers interlaced and my forearms are coming towards each other as well, so that you can get into this little ball to work your breath and see if you can expand the tissue from the shoulder tip to the tail. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, fill up that space between your shoulder tips and your tailbone. Exhale, deflate it off your thigh bones. Inhale, inflate. Exhale, deflate. Inhale, inflate. Longer exhale to deflate. And then relax. And then we're going to come to standing. This can be done into space, or you can go against a wall if you want to. That would be a little bit more challenging. And we're going to find ourselves in an upright position. And we're going to do deep center line, which is one of my favorites. And really just let the spine, because there was so much twisting in this one today, we're going to end with just a nice roll down. So we're going to take the ball, place it up into your pubic bone, just jam it up into that pubic ramus, ram it up in there, right? Bring those feet as close as you can get it. And then as we're here, the body is going to want to clamp on it. And we're going to ask the top of our leg bones, our femurs, to pivot out, right? So think about spiraling them out so that we're continuing length and width the pelvis. Now the arms are just going to dangle by our sides. We're going to nod our nose. We're going to curl forward, right? And we're just going to hang. Now we are going to do a little bit more of a active Pilates one to start here today. So I want you to pull your rib cage up and then see if you can hollow out your belly and think that you're trying to get your elephant trunk over a fence. Your legs can be bent or they might perhaps be straight. Now see how that feels. Now, see if you can let it just go now. Don't worry about using the abdominals so much. Think more about flipping your pelvis and your butt bone to the ceiling. So more of a yoga forward fold position. Now come back into more of that elephant trunk. Whoop. So now you're trying to get that round shape. Your head's still dangling down. Pull the navel back in towards your spine. Pull the bottom of your rib cage towards the back of your rib cage by your bra, and start to roll your low back against the wall like we did last week, seated against our wall. And then see if you can pull the mid back between your shoulder blades to the neck to your skull. Good. Now take the ball, bring it mid thigh, still in parallel. Again, squeeze it for a second and then unsqueeze and feel that almost spiraling effect. Maybe it's kind of what you're visualizing, those upper thigh bones. Take a big breath, nod your nose, curl at your collarbone, hook underneath your bra line. The belly button pulls in and back. Let yourself come to elephant trunk first, right? Find your elephant trunk, which is a little bit more of a round, stronger spine through your body, right? Now, once you find that, go ahead and let it go a little more so that you're coming more into that flipping of your butt bones and your belly and chest is coming closer to your thighs, depending on your flexibility here. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay, now come back into elephant. Hollow out your belly, scoop it, and go super slow. You want to think of your spine like little dominoes, and when we do dominoes, you want to stack them as perfect as you can with equal space so that we can knock them over really well. Right? Okay, now take it right above the knees. And you might notice that you're able to bring your feet a little bit closer. Take a big breath, lift the crown of your head, nod your nose, collarbone, sternum, bra, navel, reach over, get your elephant trunk, hollow it out. Right now, from your elephant trunk, we're going to go into more of a forward fold yogi. Bring it over. Flip your butt bones to the sky. Let it all relax. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. Okay, find your elephant trunk, elephants. Whoop. Now you're going to pull the pelvis underneath you with, again, we're trying to stay away from that gripping. So free out the pelvis to flip. Belly button in, front bra to back bra, sternum to the back shoulder blades. Then we go to the upper shoulder blades, the neck and the head. Okay, now we're going to take it just below the knees. Feet will come in. We're almost there. This is just a great way to end. Take a big breath. Think about your optimal height. Nod your nose. Curling down. And maybe you need to do another breath. Or maybe it was one long exhalation. Finding your elephant trunk. Look and make sure your feet are still in good alignment. Now let it go, flipping your pelvis and your bottom towards the ceiling. Everything's still over your heels as far as the junction of the legs to pelvis. You can just let everything go here. For some of you that have a lot of flexibility or a little more hypermobility, you might even be able to take fingers around your big toes and pull, right? Or another option is to take the arms around the back and pull, right? You can connect this however you want. Now find your elephant trunk. Now pull your pelvis, mechanically flip your pelvis underneath your heels. Then we start to stack our domino pieces, tailbone, sacrum, 5 in the lumbar, 12 in your thoracic, through the shoulder blades. Then you get to your cervical and there's 7 until your skull comes up. Okay, now take it into the belly of your calves. We're almost there. Take a big breath in, stand tall, nod your nose, curl, roll yourself down. Take your time. See how that feels. Find your elephant trunk first. Once you have your elephant, whoop, drop. Right? Pelvis is just flipping. You can bend your knees, you guys. You can always take your forearms. I showed that earlier. You can bend your knees and take your forearms on there. If being upside down is not right for you, you can always stay standing on this, or you could do it against a chair as well. Now, from our forward fold, we're going to bring it back into our elephant. Now, flip your pelvis. Go tail underneath you. Once the pelvis gets there, then you go your sacrum, 5 lumbar bones, 12 thoracic bones. Then you've got 7 through your neck and then your skull. Whew. Okay, last one, you guys. This is it. And we are ready for our evening to be done. Take a big breath. Nod your nose, you should be feeling good. Curl, hollow, roll, find your elephant first. Once you have your elephant, let it go. You can bend your knees tons until your belly touches your thighs. You can start to straighten the legs if you have that. Again, you could grab onto your toes and pull if that's the flexibility you have. You could wrap around you. But we're trying to keep the bum over our heels. Everything go here. And then we're going to find our elephant trunk. Here we go. Now, belly pulls in and your pelvis comes under you. Tail, sacrum, lumbar, thoracic, cervical, and head. Take a big breath in and take your right arm up to the sky. Tip it over. Take it to the other side. Tip it over. Take the arms to the floor. Take a big breath. Bring the arms up to the sky. Give yourself a big hug and a big pat on the back. And we are done today. Good, you guys. So it just shows you that when you have the length in there, that you can actually get stronger in the right muscles. Hopefully we're starting to understand that concept of freeing ribs, freeing pelvis, strengthen the powerhouse. Okay, so we have last week, next week, and we'll just do some more of this good strengthening work.
Great. Thanks, Terry. That was a great class.
Yeah, hopefully you guys have let me know how you feel. You guys, some of this, I know the first couple of times I did that rotation stuff, it was really hard on me. So, you know, if you have some misalignments, you may have to zip up the middle of your spine or something. You know, it's just intense. It's intense rotation. So just keep that in mind. If you're tomorrow, you're not quite sure what happened, you might have to just kind of do a few zipping up the center.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, welcome, you guys. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.